Good evening, wonderful people, great Biafrans, wherever you are on the face of this very planet, on this very glorious Shabbat evening, on this very day of the 22nd of December in the year of our Most High Elohim 2018, with the time now at precisely 3 minutes past 7 p.m. from here in the Holy Land of Israel. I welcome each and every one of you. I greet you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to each and every one of you, regardless of the time zone from which you are listening from this very evening. I welcome you, and as I welcome you, I would also enjoin you to welcome other people as well. Friends and well-wishers of Biafra, welcome to join us. Our enemies also are permitted to listen to Radio Biafra, because from this very platform we disseminate light, we bring knowledge and enlightenment to people who are otherwise languishing in monumental ignorance. We must preach the gospel of redemption, this very gospel of hope. We must make sure that Biafra is restored in our time, that every glory and honor may belong to Elohim. You must come to us, because we are also coming to you this very day, this very glorious evening. If you are joining us for the very first time, we welcome you. And as I said earlier, I will encourage you to welcome other people as well. There are various ways, means through which you can listen to Radio Biafra. The principle of which is radiobiafra.co, www.radiobiafra.co. We know the enemy is interrupting this very platform for those of us unfortunate enough to be residing in the damnable zoological republic. They don't want you to listen to the truth. But if you are elsewhere, if you are using any of the filters that we've announced variously, I suggest very strongly that you go to www.radiobiafra.co. You can also listen to us via www.ipob.org. I repeat, ipob.org. You can listen via Radio Biafra app. You can listen via rblworld.tv. You can listen via TuneIn Radio app and also Simple Radio app. We are also on satellite. I cautioned earlier that anybody traveling back to the blessed land of Biafra at this very time of the year, ensure that your street, your village, your hamlet, your clan is hooked up to Radio Biafra by installing our satellite system. It's not very expensive. Some are less than 10,000 naira. You must make sure that your family is listening to Radio Biafra via satellite. Radio Biafra, we must caution you also, you can receive us via CHK 102.1 FM across Biafra land. If you're listening to us this evening and you can, please amplify this very transmission and make sure that everybody around where you are is also listening. I welcome you once again, and before we proceed, we must pray. We must pray for the guidance of Chukwukika Biama. We must ask heaven to take control of these very proceedings, for we are nothing without the blessing of Elohim. Chukwukika Biama Purimihanina. As it is our custom and tradition here, every honor and glory must go to the Most High, and accordingly we must pray. Because we do not name our children in glory or to the glory of Elohim for nothing. Okwu diri Chineke, Ngozi Chukwu, Ifeanyi Chukwu, Ike Chukwu, Odinaka Chukwu. In what other way are we going to express our boundless joy that Chukwukika Biama saw it fit to bless the land of Biafra and to use us to bring light to the darkness that is Africa. We must honor him, and we must pray this very evening. You must bow your heads in prayer, because without Elohim we are nothing. Without Chukwukika Biama we would not exist. We must hand over all our proceedings to him this very evening. This is a prayer that I used to pray when I was in prison. It was the same prayer that Hannah prayed to Chukwukika Biama, asking Elohim to accept her joy because Samuel came. For our heart shall rejoice in Elohim, for our horn has been exalted in him that is the maker of the heavens and the earth. Our mouths are enlarged over that of our enemies, for they have fallen never to rise again, because we rejoice in the salvation that cometh from the Creator of the universe. There is none as holy as Elohim, for there is none beside thee, only one, the greatest name above every other name. Neither is there any rock like our Creator. Talk no more so exceedingly proudly. Let not arrogancy come out of your mouth. For Elohim is our creator of knowledge, and by him actions are weighed. For the bows of the mighty men of the zoo, the very criminal cabal are broken, and they that stumbled are gathered with strength. For they thought that IPOB cannot last and we cannot stand strong. But today we are more formidable than ever. They that were full have hired out themselves for bread. Igbo politicians, and they that were hungry have ceased, so that the barren hath borne 7, and she that had many children is waxed feeble. For those that thought that Biafra will not stand to this very day, they misjudged and they miscalculated, because the strength of the Most High Elohim is with his children. That very strength is with IPOB, and that is why Biafra must be restored. For only Elohim killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. Only Elohim maketh the poor and maketh the rich. He will bring low and he will lift us up. He has raised the poor out of the dust. Only Elohim can. No other. And he has set us amongst princes, that Biafra may rise to claim its rightful position amongst the committee of civilized nations, that we may become a light to the darkened world that is sub-Saharan Africa, and unto his eternal glory. For the pillars of the earth are Elohim's, and he has set the world upon them. He will keep the feet of his saints. That is why there is every hope, every assurance that Elohim shall sustain IPOB, and the wicked shall be silent in darkness. These who must fall. For it is not by the strength of man have we prevailed, but by the everlasting mercy of the Creator of the heavens and the earth. Our adversaries shall fall. Those who rose against us shall be feeble, they will fade away, they will be destroyed, and Biafra shall stand. to the eternal glory and adoration of the Most High Elohim. Now and forevermore we pray. He say. Thank you very much. We must proceed. We must continue. Our job is to restore Biafra. That is precisely what we are going to do. There is no way anybody or anything of man shall be able to stop us. We must join together in faith, in brotherhood, in love and in appreciation of this very unique assignment that this generation has been given. And we must execute it. There is nothing to stop us from restoring Biafra. We must proceed. As I said earlier, this is a live presentation from the Holy Land of Israel. Because the zoo must fall, and with it, Jubril, or vice versa. I have studiously maintained that very thing in Asorok, masquerading himself as the late Muhammadu Buhari, is a man from Sudan. And this evening, hopefully, our brain cells shall be tuned enough to begin to appreciate the very compelling scientific evidence before everybody. These are inescapable facts. These are things that we ought to know, but due to the treachery and duplicitousness of the Yoruba media is the problem of the masses in the zoo called Nigeria. Because they are deceivers and liars. They are populated by cowards who shouldn't be practicing journalism. Always they tend to defend the indefensible. We shall expose them to let the world understand that these are hired hands, these are quacks of their trade. They collect money to publish nonsense. They collect money to defend evil. Yoruba media, that is what they do. We shall unmask them. And in the process, lay bare the fraud going on in the zoo. The greatest fraud of 2 centuries. The imposition of a Sudanese, unelected. A man whose name is not on the electoral roll. We shall unmask them, and with it, the zoo shall come to an end. Today is Saturday, the 22nd day of December, 2018. We welcome you to our live presentation. And once again, Jubril Aminu al-Sudani and his handlers have, over the past 14 days, presented the whole world with ample opportunities for those brave enough within the zoo to confront the impostor from Sudan. But predictably, they passed up on the opportunity to expose this fraud because they are cowards. They are natural-born cowards. They cannot stand up in defense of the truth. What matters to them is the money they steal, the money they loot, and the money they have stashed away illegally and illicitly. They will never stand up for the truth, especially Yoruba media. They are the worst thing to ever happen to Nigeria, and that is why there will never, ever, ever be a revolution to overthrow this very corrupt order that you have running the damnable Zoological Republic. They are afraid of the truth, and are incapable, I must say, of rising up against fraud and evil. I want Yoruba journalists, those defending Jubril, politicians, commentators and writers to please go back to all the facts that I issued, especially the 6 scientific facts that I issued about 2 weeks ago. Look at it and look at the impostor that presented the budget on Wednesday and tell me if that man standing on the floor of the Senate is the General Muhammadu Buhari that you all knew at one point. The most painful part of this disgraceful saga in the history of Nigeria is that the facts that I have presented doesn't require any proper functioning brain to undertake this very simplest of tasks of comparing the old Buhari, the dead one, with this younger, vibrant Jubril. All that is required is a pair of eyes and a half-empty brain. You don't even need a full brain that is working properly. Just a half-empty brain will do. As long as you can add 1 + 1 to give you 2, you should be able to understand that Jubril is not Buhari, going by the evidence I shall present this evening. In other words, even a 5-year-old can conduct this very simple comparison between the Sudanese impostor that presented the budget and the dead Buhari. Very, very simple. There is one thing they have done very cleverly. Anytime we present their own pictures, they will get a Yoruba journalist, because they flew them to Abuja about 2 weeks ago after my broadcast. They thought we wouldn't hear about it, and bribed them very well, gave them money. All the former editors of Yoruba newspapers were in Abuja at the invitation of Femi Adesina. They were given large sums of money to go back to their various stables to condemn what I am doing through very lengthy features and articles, ostensibly trying to ridicule the fact that Jubril is running Nigeria and not Buhari. But I must add that they have failed woefully, as they will continue to fail, because you don't and can never argue with the truth. I want everybody to have a look, a proper look at Jubril on the floor of the House of the Senate. And as I asked you before to do, so shall we do again tonight. Those of you with the video clips showing the left ear of Jubril must see very clearly tonight that his ear, his full ear, is still intact, unlike the dead Buhari. Go and look at the videos. That was why Bukola Saraki was intensely looking at his left ear. Go and look at it. You will see. Because he knows that Jubril is in power in the zoo. But all of you are frightened because you are all, of course, disturbed by the murderous tendencies of the Fulani cabal. And some have pointed out to me that look at what happened to Alex Bade. He was trying to be brave by confronting the cabal and telling them what he knows about Jubril. That if they don't excuse him from the trial that he's facing, he will expose them. He was promptly killed, and I will prove it tonight, that Aisha Buhari knew about the slaughter and the death of Alex Bade. So also is the ever-present Abba Kyari. That I shall also prove tonight. For the world to understand the nonsense happening in Nigeria, their cowardice and their stupidity. We have all been bludgeoned into stupor, a mental state of cowardice, that men can no longer rise up to speak the truth for fear of what will happen to them. And I'm sure that some of those supporters of iniquity, they are now rejoicing because Alex Bade is dead and nobody will investigate. No journalist will write about it because they have all collected money. I say it with every ounce of conviction within me that the media in Nigeria is working against the people. In any other country of the world, the senseless assassination of Alex Bade will make headline news for about 2 weeks. But because Yorubas are in charge of the media, they have no soul. They have nothing within them. No dignity and no honor. That is why the death of Alex Bade is not being investigated. Why did Alex Bade die? Because he threatened Aisha Buhari and Abba Kyari with what he knew about Jubril and Minu al-Sudani. Look at the picture of Jubril presenting the budget on Wednesday, December the 19th, and you will see what I'm telling you. The left ear, they brought out a Yoruba girl. I don't know what her name is. She used to work for Saga reporters. She was claiming that all the pictures that I used, they were reversed. And I said to her, have you looked at Buhari's face? Look at the cancerous tumor on his chin. It's on the left-hand side. No amount of picture editing can change that. Buhari's, the growth on the left path of his chin, the growth, the cancerous growth is on the left. It can never change. No matter how you Photoshop a picture, it remains on the left-hand side. It can never ever change. Therefore, the pictures we are presenting were the same pictures issued by Asorok. But this Yoruba girl had the temerity to stand up to the world to lie about it because of money. Because of money. Buhari non cancerous growth. On the left-hand side, there is nothing you can do to remove it. Never, ever, ever. Do you know that somebody went live on TV to try to disparage my assertion? I was sent by Elohim. Only those who are discerning enough can understand this very message. Yoruba media is responsible for putting Nigeria in the state that it is today because of their selfish and parochial interest. It must be confronted. A spade must be called a spade. When Igbo politicians misbehave, I castigate them. When Biafran politicians misbehave, I castigate them. If the problem is coming from Yoruba-dominated media, we must speak the truth. You will see from the picture of Jubril on Wednesday that the left ear is intact. And how do you know the left part of Buhari's face? Anywhere you find the spot, the cancerous growth on his lower chin, that's the left part of his face. Go and check it anywhere. It doesn't change. It never ever changes. It is there constant. I have a mark on my face on the left-hand side. If you take the picture of my face, you will see it there. Even if you reverse it, you will still notice the left-hand side because that is where I have the mark. Very simple thing. All of you are there claiming you went to school and Yoruba journalists are twisting your brain upside down, writing rubbish. None of you is questioning it. None of you. Then you claim you went to school. Your left hand is your left hand. The left part of your face is the left part of you can, no matter what to reverse, it stays there. We must proceed. All of you saw Jubril's birthday pictures. That was on the 16th. Go back and look at the pictures. I said every picture issued by Femi Adesina and Asorok regarding the dead Buhari's birthday, which was being celebrated by Jubril. Did you see that Jubril was cutting the cake with his left hand? Did you notice it? Yoruba media said Buhari is right-handed. And I agree with them. Yes, Buhari, the dead one, is right-handed. How can you be cutting a cake with your left hand if you're right-handed? Is that possible? Is that done anywhere? It's a simple human reflex. I don't know how they're going to explain this one. I don't know how this Yoruba girl is going to spin this one. But let me tell her something. If you reverse the picture, no matter how you do it, 76 will read 67. If you reverse this picture, 76 will read 67. This picture is not reversed. And here is Jubril with his left hand cutting the cake. Left, okay. And you know what that means. Now let me give you my first assignment this evening. This is for Bukola Saraki and all the members of the Senate and legislature who are interested in uncovering the truth. Because Jubril is naturally left-handed and they are forcing him to sign some of the agreements and bills with his right hand, he cannot correctly mimic the signature of the dead Buhari. That is one thing. This is my submission this evening. Go and check every document signed by whoever it is that is occupying Asorok from July of 2017 to date. You will see that that signature, the specimen of the signature, is not the same as the dead Buhari's own. A very simple assignment that I expect Yoruba journalists to go and try and uncover, but they won't. Instead, they will collect money and be writing rubbish. Left-handed Jubril cutting his birthday cake. The inability of the masses to rise up to this impostor is what this useless generation, the useless, not Biafrans, of course Nigerians, a very useless generation. That is what they'll be defined by forever and ever. There was a brilliant article written by one of us, one of our writers, Nicholas Onhaji. I'll go through it later on. It's titled Confronting a Useless Generation. I love it so much that I'll do the honor of going through it this evening for people to understand the mess that they are in. Go and look at the picture of Buhari. It is everywhere. I'm sure people can see this. Look at this. The left part of Jubril, you can see that the ear is intact. Look at the mole on his lower chin, the cancerous growth. The ear is intact. And this is the man presenting budget to all of you. But everybody in the legislature, both House of Reps and Senate, they know that the person that the Northerners voted for is a man that had damaged left ear. This same Jubril came to the house with ear intact. Nobody raised any question. That is why tonight I shall focus on that very ear to let you understand that there are some things they cannot doctor. I went through some pictures online and I saw them that they use Photoshop to try to touch on the ear. The funniest thing is that they gave me the date and the time of the Photoshop. When we shall do our live TV presentation, I'll point all out to the whole world so they can see it. The fraud going on in Asorok. Therefore, we shall continue to unmask Jubril. If you want to know the reason why Africa is still, to date, not capable of human development or sustaining any meaningful level of human advancement, as, say, for instance, in South Africa, where white Europeans created a modern society, you should look no further than the brain of we black people. The way we receive, process, and analyze information is the problem with our brain. Some of you will recall very vividly that the same crop of leaders you claim you have today attended university with the likes of, say, Trump or Cameron or Theresa May or Merkel. Ask yourself, why is it that these leaders can move their respective countries forward, but none in Africa can? But they all went to Cambridge and Oxford. Some went to Harvard, some went to Yale, some went to Princeton. the Ivy League schools. They write very wonderful and brilliant grammar. But when it comes to implementation, they are lacking because their brain doesn't know how to process information, utilize that very information to advance the cause of their people. That is where you have engineers that cannot build roads and bridges. Why do we need Julius Berger to build Second Niger Bridge? But we have professors of engineering, don't we? Now, any day you discover for yourself the reason why a professor of civil engineering cannot build a common bridge, you will begin to understand the reason why we black people are backwards. We don't know how to process and utilize information. That is why Jubril is still there. But tonight, I have made it possible for even a 5-year-old to understand that Jubril is different from Buhari. I want Amaka Eko to begin to publish. First of all, first to release the diagram of the ear. I did it before. Have you all seen this? First of all, release the diagram of the ear. The structure of the ear is called. First of all, put it out there that people may begin to appreciate that Jubril and Buhari are not the same people. Put it out this evening. I want Yoruba, as you're publishing it, I want people to distribute it everywhere. Put it on Radio Biafra London. Put it on every social media platform we control. And I want to invite every Yoruba journalist, pay attention this evening. I want to prove to you that you're working for the devil. I want to prove to Yoruba newspapers, publishers, and journalists that they are working for the devil. I want to disgrace them tonight before the whole world because humanity is listening to me. Radio Biafra is all over the world, and the truth must be preached from here. You will see the structure of the ear. It differs from person to person, and I will ask you again to go and do a comparison. Check your outer ear. Check that of your parents, your children, your uncles, your sisters. Now is the festive season. A lot of you are together. You will see that no two persons share the same ear structure. I've preached this before, but I know I'm preaching it again tonight because I have gone one more level to prove to all of you that Buhari is dead and that Jubril is an impostor. Listen very, very carefully, please. The second picture being released was taken officially in London when the dead Buhari attended anti-corruption summit. It was taken very clearly, you will see it there. The second picture. That picture is the left ear of the dead Buhari showing. You will notice the mole on the left part of his chin, his chin. You will see it there. That goes to show that we are focusing on the left part of his face, which means his left ear. You will notice very clearly that it is damaged. Are you looking at it at all? Have you seen it? I wanted this. Every admin we have must distribute these pictures. Don't distribute it randomly. It must come in sequence. The diagram of the outer ear must come first. And you must post all of them together. The outer ear first. The second picture is that of Buhari, the dead Buhari in London in 2016. I want you to take note of the different parts of the ear. This Yoruba journalist that used to, I've forgotten what her name is. You know, the short black Yoruba girl that used to do something for Saga reporters before. Having worked for Saga reporters, that's all you need to know. Because they are liars and cheats. They do anything for money. To keep Nigeria united, not because they love you, but because they need access to oil and gas. And they know that any day that Biafra leaves, Fulani will come to Yoruba, march into Yoruba land and decimate them overnight. So we are more or less their buffer. We are an insurance. against wholesale Fulani invasion of Yoruba land. Look at the left ear of Buhari in 2016. Now, I don't want to go into too much debate with Yoruba journalists. So I have selected the picture of who they said was Buhari visiting Trump in America. Do you all have the pictures of Trump? Of the picture of Jubril when he went to see Trump. So what I'm giving you are official pictures. Official pictures circulated all over the world. Not anything taken by IPOB intelligence. And now, if you have the three pictures, I want you to begin the analysis yourself. Very, very simple and straightforward. After tonight, if anybody believes that Jubril is Buhari, then I will know that even a filthy pig is better than us, black Africans. I'm telling you the truth. Because we have taken the pain of replicating and pointing out different parts of the outer ear, both in Buhari's picture and that of Jubril. So the comparison can be made very, very easy because the names are sometimes very complex for you to grasp. Focus on the anti-helix or any part of the ear structure that you like. You will notice that the lobule is missing in the real Buhari. In Jubril, it is not missing. And before the Yoruba girl comes to tell me, oh, that the picture was reversed, it's Buhari's right ear. I want you to look at the by sequence, so it will see lotion will be uncontainable. I am placing the American diplomatic mission in Nigeria on notice that they too are complicit in sending a fake impostor to Trump. And I am proving tonight with the official pictures issued by reputable world media, by a White House. This picture was issued by a White House. That the Buhari they sent them is fake. So every agreement entered into by Jubril with Trump is null and void. I'm sure now you're following me. Do you see what Yoruba journalists are protecting? Do you see how evil they are? I have clearly demonstrated. Have you seen all the various parts? I think Amaka is publishing them on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, my Facebook page. If Facebook won't pull it down tonight, because Yorubas working for Facebook in Lagos are part of the conspiracy to hide the truth from the people. Go and you will see it. All the various parts of the ear well listed out. Even if you're blind, you can see it. I have no confidence. Have you people seen it at all? Have you seen it? Have you seen this structure as pointed out in Buhari and in Jubril? Now, if you all have it, I want you to do a very simple 1+1 comparison. Apart from the lobo that is missing on Jubril, I want you to look at the anti-helix. You know the big line that runs in your ear, your inner ear. Have you seen it? You know, have you seen the anti-helix? Compare and tell me if the anti-helix on the real dead Buhari is the same as the one on Jubril. Is it the same? It can never be. It can never ever be. I also want you to have a look at the helix itself. You will see that they too are not the same. I want you to look at the fossa, F-O-S-S-A, of the helix. These are parts of your outer ear. The one on the dead Buhari is not the same as the one on Jubril. The funniest thing is that this part of the body, there is nothing a surgeon's knife can do. You can only attempt to use plastic surgery and attempt to use makeup, and even if you do, it will show. I am going by the pictures officially published by the British government and by the government of Donald Trump in America, administration of Donald Trump in America, to see the fraud going on in the zoo called Nigeria. All the parts are there, very clear. Very, very clear. And I'm asking anybody to go to Google and type in Buhari's visit to White House. You will see these same pictures there. Only if they will bribe them to take it down, but we have them. So it's perhaps a bit too late for them. Because I told them that we are not going to stop. And we can never stop until the zoo collapses. That is what Yoruba journalists are fighting very hard to conceal and to hide from you people. When we say that Buhari is dead, we know what we're talking about. Had Buhari been alive, they will not dare insult America by sending a Sudanese impostor to the US to go and see Trump in the name of one Nigeria. Impossible. Have you seen all the diagrams? I want it distributed everywhere. 3 pictures with all the marks of the outer ear clearly identified. For Buhari and for Jubril. After this, if you tell me that the man in Asorok is Buhari, then may the good Lord have mercy upon your dark black soul, because you're headed straight to go and meet Lucifer in hell, I assure you. This reminds me of something that distresses me all the time. And I've been preaching on this very matter for almost 9 years consistently. People get upset when I say it, but I must keep saying it because you don't reason. If you don't reason like a human being, I cannot address you like a human being. You have brain so you can reason, so you can think. We must remember that black Africans during and after the colonial era attended most of the higher institutions in Europe and in America, even some in Russia, that produced the great thinkers of the mid to late 20th century. These universities churned out industrialists, writers, philosophers, scientists, etc. Now, the question that I'm asking, the $68 million question that I'm asking is this. Why is it that other races can convert their knowledge, that is what they have read and acquired at these universities or elsewhere, into tangible, discernible achievement, whereas in Africa, we are still battling with the barest basics of life? We remain backwards in our thinking and application of solutions to our problems. Why are we backwards? If you are doubting me before, look at the reaction of black people, especially Nigerians, towards the issue of an impostor from Sudan ruling over them. There are some things in life you cannot change. You cannot change your fingerprint. You can't change your palm print unless you cut off your hand anyway. You cannot change the structure of your ear. It's there for life. Why is it that the police all over the world can rely on fingerprint to identify a criminal? The Babylonians used it hundreds upon hundreds, thousands of years ago. Why can't people in Africa in the 21st century be able to utilize the same technology? Why is it so difficult? Only then will you know how stupid black people are. The same thing that the Babylonians used. Every ancient civilization used it up until this very day. Even when you go to vote, you use it. When you tell Nigerians that, can't you simply look at the fingerprint of Jubril, look at that of Buhari, they're not the same. They still don't get it. They still don't understand it. That is why I have taken the pains of pointing out this evening. Because he cannot hide his ear now. He is no longer waving at us. As I told you, he will not. Jubril can no longer wave. Has he waved in the past 2 weeks? He's now doing chop knuckle. Is that what they call it? Now you understand, don't you? But did I not tell you on Radio Biafra that Buhari will no longer wave in public? This Jubril, he will no longer wave in public. I told you that. And that is happening. People still fail to reason. That is what is astonishing. Astonishing. I told you he cannot wave. Any day he waves, we have our telescopic lenses tuned so we can capture it live and show the whole world. Because, you know, we blacks, we are too daft to reason properly. We are continuing. I hope we're going out. People listening to us, are we live and clear to the whole of humanity? Every part of the world is advancing because when they go to school, you tell them if you mix hydrogen and oxygen, it forms water. They come back home and they do it. Israel grows plantain in a desert. Is that true or false? Because Israeli scientists, they apply what they have studied in university. They make it practicable. Live, you see it. I remember in 1985, during the live band-aid in Ethiopia, I had this debate with my father. I asked my father, why are white musicians playing in London and all over the world to feed we blacks in Africa? As young as I was then, I had left secondary school a couple of years before that. My father said it's because there is drought. There is no water in Ethiopia. That is why they are starving. And I said to my father, but you can create water, can't you, artificially? He said, how is that possible? Why do I say that? I said, because water is H2O. It is a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. If you mix it together, it becomes water. So why can't we do it in Africa since we have scientists all over the place? He couldn't answer me because perhaps he didn't want me to feel let down or disappointed with the inadequacies of we blacks. And that has been exercising my mind. In fact, I started to feel that perhaps technology can be built only in the Western world, not anywhere near black people. Then I went through history and read what our scientists did during the war. The great inventions by Biafran scientists. Then I realized that it is possible. It is only Nigeria and this global conspiracy that is stopping us from emerging as a viable independent nation. It then occurred to me that most of the people who, I say it without any equivocation, nobody can do what we Biafrans can do in Africa. It's as simple as that. I'm not boasting. That is a fact of life. Therefore, we must continue to expose the fraud that is the damnable zoological republic. We remain backwards in our thinking because we don't know how to utilize information. Is anybody still in doubt about the ear of Jubril and Buhari? Are you still in doubt? Is anybody still in doubt? I want the ones that I have marked to be circulated. Circulated, invite Yoruba journalists. Everywhere they are, invite them. They defend the indefensible. And here we tear them to shreds. The answer to my question can be found in how we deal with information at our disposal. The analysis of such information and how we choose to act on it. For instance, in any other civilized part of the world except Africa, the least the citizens would have demanded is an investigation into the issue of Jubril, a panel of inquiry. But in Nigeria, as well as in other parts of Africa, the population have been so intimidated by a combination of local forces and imperialist tendencies to the point where we have become stupid beyond redemption. We have become timid. Do you know that in Africa, when you're fighting for the people to liberate them, some of the people will be praying for you to be killed? Do you know why they do that? Because the soul of a black man is black and evil. You can't help it. You know that some of them were crying that I survived an assault on my house to kill me. Some of them were jubilating. They thought I had died. Some of them are Igbo. Some are Eja. Some of them are Yoruba, Kanu, everywhere. These are black people, black Nisioji. They love evil so much. That is why Alex Bade is now dead. Nobody's asking questions because you are evil. Nisioji, you people are bad by your very nature. That was why Elohim took away all his glory from Africa and subjugated black people to eternal slavery. Do you know why? No matter how bad white people are, there is a particular level they cannot sink to. At least in this modern day and age. Did you see what was happening in the Republic of Congo? Shooting people? Army! In the Catholic Church. We came out to pray in Abaokezi Bazo act as our friends to kill us. And people in Abia State are still talking about voting for Kezi Bazo. Can you believe such nonsense? After Operation Python Dance, number 1, number 2, number 3, some people in Imo State are considering voting for APC. What type of human beings are you? Oh, you don't have any conscience. No conscience whatsoever. You are full of evil. But we know that Okezi Bazo cannot go back, no matter their rigging techniques. And we shall stop him. If Okezi Bazo goes back into Abia State government house, Abia State will burn. Write it down somewhere and say that I told you. Because he is an agent of the North. And they are doing everything they can to rig that walrus into power. That evil man. We will teach Okezi Bazo a lesson that Abia State belongs to IPOB and to the people. He must understand that. People talk about bribery and corruption as if it is something that inhabits the realm of public office administration alone. The truth is that the worst forms of corruption and cowardice exist within the Yoruba managed media in Nigeria. Yoruba media brought cowardice into journalism. A newspaper editor told one of my assistants that publishing the expose on Jubril will lead to their closure, will lead to the closure of their newspaper. And possible imprisonment. And I sent my assistant a message to forward to this journalist. I asked him, then why are you a journalist? You should have tried something else. You should have joined the police force. You know, you should be standing at a checkpoint collecting money from people. But he's a journalist. Tomorrow they'll give him an award as the journalist of the year. In other words, Yoruba journalists have become slaves to the system they vowed to hold in check. Some of you are wondering why am I focusing? Because they are the problem. The quality of information the public receives is what they are going to act upon. Over the years, they used their media preponderance to hold all of you in chain, in bondage, that today you cannot even speak your mind freely without thinking, oh, who knows what Yoruba journalists will think of me. They make and they break you. The only person they couldn't break is me, because I know they are nothing. They are beneath us today, tomorrow, and forever and ever. Yoruba journalists. There are good, brave men in Yoruba land. Very brave men. Those men we shall continue to honor. Always. But the cowards amongst them, we shall continue to expose them. Let us take for an example, or should I say as an example, because I have to be grammatically correct on Radio Biafra. Makandiota. You know them. Nigerians, aided by their docile and corrupt media, have become natural cowards, like the owners of the newspapers themselves. Even television is worse. Why do you think a majority of Nigerians are useless? When you listen to Channels TV, what makes you think you'll be normal again? Let us look at some cases in point. General Sani Abacha, a half-educated ordinary soldier, looted billions of naira and stored it away in foreign land for his family. Nigerians, when he died, Nigerians were jumping up and down that the Lord has done it for us, that karma had, done its job. When Abacha took Abiola and locked him away, people did not revolt. People did not rise up in anger, because there is nothing called one Nigeria. Whatever the case may be today, Abacha's children and his wives are having fun, living large, whilst most of you are in penury, running about looking for your PVCs to vote another set of criminals into power. Do you see how foolish you all are? Do you see how perverted your thinking is? They are busy chasing Desi and Emadweke, but they don't want to chase their Abacha family. They don't want to chase the family of Babashir Lawal. They don't want to chase the family of Ibrahim Lamode of EFCC. They don't want to chase the family of Minor. They don't want to chase the family of Ganduje. I don't know if you're following my drift. Because you are all slaves before them. I came across a reasonable piece of comment that was written by somebody during the week. How instead of us to rise up and take our destiny in our own hands, we are waiting for God to do everything for us. That is the damage that the proliferation of churches have done to your thinking. You no longer reason properly. You no longer reason properly. Very sad indeed. Have you ever seen any European or American white person, Arab, Asian, or Latino waiting for karma to deal with his enemies or to deal with a bad system? People rise up in rebellion. I have explained to you, you know within your hearts of hearts that Jubril is not Buhari. But you don't want to rise up. You're waiting for God to do it for you. The same God that Israel is worshipping, that blessed Israel, and by proxy blessed Biafra. That the deputy mayor of Jerusalem said, it is your responsibility, not God, it is you or your responsibility to remove this impostor. Instead, you're listening to Yoruba media. White people made us what we are today, so we might as well learn from them. If there's one thing I learned from white people studying in England is this: it is left for the people to change a corrupt system. Don't leave it to God. Oliver Cromwell sacked King Charles I and cut off his head. You see English people, you see the British. Some of you don't know that they rebelled against their own government too. That is why today they are advanced and developed. That's why today the House of Commons is sovereign, more or less, in terms of political power. The French people revolted, Americans revolted, Russians revolted, everywhere, even the Arab Spring. The only place without any uprising is in Black Africa, and that is why you're poor. Very, very poor. Do you know why God will not do it for you? Remove Jubril for you, only if you do it yourself. Because I'm in Israel. I'm preaching from Israel. Before the Israelites came into this very land, in times gone by, God said to them, I have given it to you, yes, but you must also fight your way in, so you value it. You remember the story of the wall of Jericho? They marched around the wall of Jericho 7 times. Why didn't God just open Jericho and say, oh, go in and take it? You still have to fight your way in, so you value it. You want a white man to remove Jubril for you. Then tomorrow you say, oh, I'm black, I'm proud, we are the same. You cannot be the same. The whites are superior to you until you do what they have done as well. It's not an insult, I'm telling you the truth. What I am telling you is the truth. Alex Bade is dead, as I pointed out earlier. If you look at what transpired, I'm now going back to the issue of Jubril. Sometimes I digress a little bit to try to buttress my point. I want to bring to you an official account of what must have transpired. These days, I no longer take my source from anywhere else because the defenders of the zoo are Yoruba media practitioners. So I take what they have written, I analyze it, and I use it to judge them. You know they own every media now. You don't know that? Channels, television, everything is Yoruba. You don't know that before? With the money that Awolowo stole after the war, they cornered every aspect of the economy, including the media. And they have used it very cleverly to subjugate and subdue all of you. And you have become as cowardly as Yoruba journalists. Very sad indeed. This is from Punch newspaper, one of the leading corrupt Yoruba newspapers. And we must read. This is what they wrote, not me. Please, this is from Punch newspaper, I beg of you. About Alex Bade and what led to his death. So you can begin to understand that Jubril is not Buhari. It has been revealed, said the Punch newspaper, that the former Chief of Defense Staff, Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade, met with Aisha, wife of President Muhammadu Buhari. Are you listening to me? Alex Bade that was assassinated met with Aisha Buhari. It is not me. Before they say tomorrow, Nnamdi Kanu made up the story. This is from Yoruba newspaper. Yoruba. Unbelievable. Alex Bade met with Aisha, the wife of the dead President Muhammadu Buhari, and the Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari, over his trial for corruption 3 weeks before he was shot dead by unknown gunmen along Abuja Kefi Road on Tuesday. Do you need a scientist to tell you what may have happened or transpired? Why, after meeting Aisha and Abba Kyari, the man that brought in Jubril, now Alex Bade is dead? A close associate of Alex Bade claimed that Alex Bade confided in him that Mrs. Buhari told Bade that only Abba Kyari could help him. Listen carefully. Only Abba Kyari can help you. Not even her husband. She never said, oh, don't worry, my husband will help you. She said only Abba Kyari will help you. Which goes to confirm that Buhari is not alive. And Jubril does what Abba Kyari says. And as I told you from day one, the main culprit in all this is Abba Kyari and Mama Daura. Are you following? Somebody came to your house and is begging your wife to help him or her out of a particular problem. Instead of you hold the authority and the power, instead of your wife to come to you to ask you, your wife will now refer you refer the person to your secretary. Does it make any sense? I don't know. Does it make any sense? Why meet the wife in the first place if you're not seeking to get Buhari's intervention? But Aisha Buhari said, go to the cabal, one of the two, Abba Kyari. Only him can help you. You know that Bade, I met him in Kuje, as a matter of fact. Or he met me in Kuje. He came and left. And I had a brief conversation with him about Nigeria. And those who were around knew what I told him. I told him that Nigeria will never work. All this thing you're doing is a waste of time. He said, oh, no, don't worry. Oh, your senior brother is my friend. Because my senior brother is an Air Vice Marshal. So I said, he's my friend. Oh, don't worry. You know, HFL is my friend. And Nigeria will be better one day. I said, Nigeria can never be better. And today, that man is dead. So sad indeed. So sad. He was facing trial for alleged fraud, criminal breach of trust, and money laundering. He met Aisha Buhari to seek intervention in the legal troubles, which were reportedly taking an emotional and financial toll on him. A close associate of the deceased, I'm reading from Yoruba newspaper, please, claimed that he confronted him. Mrs. Buhari told Bade that by going to Abba Kyari, your problems will be solved. Then, listen carefully. Aisha Buhari then took Alex Bade to Abba Kyari, the same cabal she was complaining about a few weeks ago. You see the inconsistency of black people. There is no honor, there is no dignity. The same Aisha Buhari was crying about Abba Kyari. Today, Abba Kyari is the solver, is the shaker and the mover of the administration because only him brought in Jubril. Anything, Abba, did you see Jubril with Abba Kyari celebrating the 76th birthday? Did you see him cutting the cake as if it is his own? The kingmaker. Bade stated that Aisha Buhari then took him to Kyari, but the CSO was non-committal. That's the chief of staff. He was not committal. He asked Alex Bade to call him back. But he, Abba Kyari of course, was unreachable since that meeting took place about 3 weeks ago. Is it a surprise why after meeting Aisha Buhari and Abba Kyari, he's now dead? To the average demented soul and mind of a Nigerian, because I don't believe that Nigerians are capable of reasoning. That's why I call Nigeria a zoo. And luckily enough, I think Charles Soput has sort of confirmed what I've been saying all along, isn't it? Nigeria is also a zoo. Now you see why I call Nigeria a zoo. The damnable zoological republic. Democracy for those that care to know, which is what Nigeria is supposedly operating, is about checks and balances. That is why Nigeria now has an officially elected dictatorship run by Abba Kyari. He brings in whichever actor he likes to play the role of Buhari. And all of you, you just keep quiet. That is the limit of the understanding of democratic dividend. To an average Nigerian, democratic dividend is just about voting and they pay you your salary, and that's it. They've been going to school, they say they're intellectuals. He's an elite. Come and meet the elite. You're an elite and somebody from Sudan is ruling you, you're an elite. Elitism backwalk on a zoo. Look at black monkeys doing elitism. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Totalitarianism within the confines of these paper democracies in Africa, because Africa doesn't have any democracy. Black Africa, in fact, all of Africa, with the exception of maybe South Africa somehow, but it's going down the drain as well. Give black people power in South Africa for 20 more years, and you won't recognize the place anymore. That's how we are. Very, very destructive, I must say. Totalitarianism within the confines of these paper democracies in Africa, as obtained in Nigeria. Oh, dear me. Is one of the prices you have to pay to remain alive. If you challenge these dictators, you'll be killed, as they killed Alex Bade. And nobody is now calling him a hero. The same people wanted me to stay in my father's house. And the thing is that they always attack unarmed people. That's the thing about Nigeria. They always specialize in killing people who are not armed. Once you're armed, they cannot do anything to you. But we'll get there very soon, I assure you. It stands to reason that these are the people that go to Niger Republic, they go to Chad, they go to Northern Cameroon to import people to come and attend their rallies, to import people to come and vote for them. Nobody's asking any questions. INEC said, people have forgotten, INEC said, people in Niger, in Chad will vote for the presidential election only. People thought is nothing. It doesn't really matter. So when they announced 10 million votes for Buhari from Niger and from Chad, are you going to contest it? And they said that those that booed Jubril when he presented the budget will be in trouble once Mama and Daura and Abba Kyari gets their hands on power once again next year. But that's not going to happen anyway. That will never, ever happen. Because we have been told, my friend has reliably written, that Buhari got very upset when he returned to the villa from the National Assembly. They said he sat down in silence for almost an hour, after which he pointed to the sky with his right finger and in deep rage swore that when he comes back in 2019, he will teach the legislators the lesson of their lives and show them who is in charge. That is Zaba Kyari speaking. How dare you challenge Jubril, his protege? Jubril went on to blame Saraki and Dogara for the whole episode. You even have some Hausa people writing, hey, it's a disgrace. You must apologize. You know, in the zoo, once you pay somebody 2,000 or 3,000 naira, they start writing rubbish. Have you not seen the most powerful man in the world, Donald Trump, heckled? Have you not seen Putin heckled? Have you not seen Prime Minister of Britain heckled? Have you not seen or heard of Angela Merkel being heckled? Have you not seen that Emmanuel Macron is in trouble with his people? Who are you people that the people cannot speak up? Who are you that you cannot be booed? Who are you? Do you understand the meaning of democracy? Are you sure you people are developed mentally enough to appreciate what democracy entails? Are you sure you understand the essence of democratic principles and values? No, you don't. That is why you're an animal in a zoo in Nigeria. You know nothing. Your brains are empty. I hope Yoruba journalists are listening this evening. Unbelievable. The world is laughing at Nigeria because every day this Jubril saga drags on. Whatever value any Nigerian may have had before is dissipating very, very fast. Before the whole of the world. Before the whole of the world. And I want to take you through a timeline of what happened and how the Yoruba newspapers reported this very incident and what they are doing to suppress it. That is something that all of us must be aware of this evening. Because they pay the money to write rubbish, and this evening I'm going to address all of them. I will address the nonsense they are writing to let the world understand and appreciate the very fact that Nigeria is one almighty zoo and is in great trouble. I told you they had a meeting and they paid the Yoruba journalists to write rubbish. But before I get to my response to Yoruba journalists, because I want to set the parameters before I hit them below the belt this evening, let us look at what the ex-British lawmaker Eric Stewart said concerning the issue of Jubril when this very news broke in the beginning. Because our people don't follow things sequentially. This news broke on the 27th of May of 2017. Please follow the timeline very carefully and how Yoruba media tried their best to discredit this very story. These are publications by Yoruba newspapers. Because I use what they write to judge them. A British politician and former military officer Eric Stuart Joyce has condoled with Nigeria over the reported death of their president Muhammadu Buhari. Eric Joyce, who is also a former member of the parliament for Falkirk West and Falkirk, sent the condolence via his Twitter handle at Eric Joyce. Eric Joyce wrote, a former British parliamentarian, very sad to learn here of the death of President Buhari, who I campaigned for, thoughts with his wife at Aisha Buhari and family. He went on, the president is one of the world's, the president of one of the world's largest and sensitive countries died today, being Friday, in London. In our main news bulletins, not a word. You know that BBC is working with the zoo. It's British, so they own the zoo. The zoo is like a small plantation for them. So they said they won't announce it prematurely because Abba Kyari and Mama Daura has a plan that will ensure British control of Nigeria in perpetuity. So why don't we just get a Sudanese to come in here and act as our president? Nobody will be the wiser. After all, once BBC doesn't talk about it, nothing from CNN and all the heavyweight medias around the world, being black people, we are bound to go ahead with it. Because what I'm saying now will never ever resonate with black people because I am black. It's a black person saying it. As I said before, if Jesus were to come as a black man, nobody will follow him. So, until a white man says it, everything we are doing to Max Jubril remains a speculation. And this I know. And when it happens, I will tell you I told you so. He went on to say, I do stuff in Africa, the extractive industries and Scotland, previous EU captain and soldier, some good moments and some not so good. He was writing about his experience in the zoo called Nigeria, and he tweeted extensively about it. Eric Joyce, with 11.5 thousand followers, former parliamentarian. And Nigerians are still claiming that somehow Buhari is still alive. After what Eric Joyce said, let us go to another Nigerian publication of November the 9th, 2017. Follow the timeline carefully, please. November the 9th of 2017. This publication was done by an Hausa person, Abdul Aziz, that's his name. He was writing for the Premium Times. So you will not say that this is a Biafran publication or it was concocted. It was titled, the headline read, exclusive, 81 days after Buhari still avoiding Aso Rock office. Are you following me? I will read what this Hausa publication wrote about Buhari or Jubril avoiding the office of Buhari. About 81 days since his return from medical vacation in the UK. 81 days. President Muhammadu Buhari is yet to use his office in the Aso Rock Villa. Listen carefully. He was not able to get into his office because of his fingerprint. They were changing the whole security system. They built it in such a way that no coup could take place. You remember the experience of Babangida and Oka in Lagos, in Dodan Barracks. How Gideon Oka came in to try to kill him. One of his bodyguards stood in his place and was shot, and Babangida escaped. So they built Aso Rock in such a way that it's almost impregnable. Even if you do a coup in Nigeria, you cannot access the office of the president. That was why it took the Army Corps of Engineering and scientists from here in Israel, I must say, 81 days to break down the door. 81 days. As you well know, in Israel, the doors in Israel have what is called a security lifespan of about, say, 4 or 5 hours, isn't it? You cannot, where I live in Israel, you cannot break into the house. There is a room where I live, you cannot break in. No matter who you are, for 4 hours at least, to allow me the time to call the security of Israel. And within 5 minutes, they always arrive anyway. Took less of 4 hours. Understand it very well. It took them 81 days to dismantle the door, yet they hadn't finished the work. Listen carefully, please. I am giving you a timeline of Jubril's enthronement as the president of the zoo called Nigeria. Listen carefully. Mr. Buhari, according to Premium Times, an Hausa newspaper, please bear this in mind. Mr. Buhari left Nigeria for another round of medical care in the United Kingdom on May 7th and returned on August 19th. The president, however, did not resume at his desk on Monday, August 21, as he commenced official assignments from an auxiliary office attached to his residence. His failure to resume at the office generated curiosity among Nigerians, with some expressing the fear that Mr. Buhari had not recuperated enough to resume work. Please follow the excuses they're giving. The presidency later issued a statement explaining that Mr. Buhari was staying away from the office due to ongoing repair works. This is from a Hausa newspaper, Hausa Fulani paper. Due to works going on in his office, what necessitated this work to be carried out in the first place? Because the fingerprint is no longer working. I said for 81 days. 81 days is nearly 3 months. Is that not correct? For 81 days, nobody was able. I want Nigerians to reason for the first time in their lives tonight. This broadcast is for their benefit. For 81 days, his office was inaccessible because of repair work. What type of repairs were they carrying out? We must continue. The presidency later issued a statement explaining that Mr. Buhari was staying away from the office due to ongoing repair works. The regular office needs some renovation because of the 103 days of absence. Have you heard such rubbish before? This is from our WhatsApp paper. They said that the fact that Buhari was away from his office for 103 days, that there were some deterioration. Maybe the computer melted. Or the table he's using, what's it called? Whistle entered into it and destroyed it. Because he stayed away for 103 days, his office deteriorated. The curtains fell down, the ceiling collapsed because nobody was there. Have you heard such rubbish before? But you are Nigerians. Your brains were not tuned to receive the truth. That is why when you hear lies, you gobble it up. But I'm here to expose all their lies anyway, for your own benefit, not ours, because we are IPOB. And we are learned and reasonable already. Listen very carefully. Another of Mr. Buhari's media aide, Garba Shehu, later blamed the damages on rodents. They blamed rats. Before they said it was some repairs. Now it is now rats that they're blaming, some rodents. An excuse Nigerians largely found amusing. Following the 3 months period of disuse, rodents have caused a lot of damage to the furniture and the air conditioning units. Can you believe such rubbish? And it took them over 5 months to rectify it. This is what Garba Shehu said. So the version issued by Femi Adesina is different from the version issued by Garba Shehu. And you know we are blacks. We don't reason very well. So nobody can put 2 and 2 together to arrive at 4. We just took it at face value. Oh, they have said it. And why did they get away with this? Because of Yoruba media, covering for them all the time. Because of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his stable of newspapers and television. It is in the interest of Yoruba media and Yoruba Muslims to defend Buhari to the hilt. And they are doing a very marvelous job. I am still reading what Hausa Fulani paper wrote. However, 81 days after the president resumed work, Villa staff and visitors to the seat of power say he was still operating from outside of his official office. Can you believe such nonsense? It's just like Trump traveled, was ill, came back and they said he cannot get into the Oval Office. That the whole place deteriorated. And the Americans then asked questions as to why. What type of deterioration? Now said it's rats. How can rats enter inside us rock? So that means Nigeria is so dirty and filthy. That's what it means. But people cannot see it that way. That they looked at you and lied to you. And it doesn't mean anything. Because you are all liars. So lying or accepting lies comes to you naturally. Very sad indeed. Very sad. I continue to read. This is despite him, that's so-called Buhari, taking full control of the day-to-day running of the government, including hosting visitors and holding meetings at the villa. Mr. Buhari, Aso Rock Insider say, is now using annex offices at other locations within the expansive premises, including one attached to his house. Another office used by the president is one adjoining the banquet hall. So they were detailed. I commend the Premium Times. They were very detailed. They were telling us exactly where Buhari was obviously working from, or where Jubril was working from, as the case may be, because his fingerprint doesn't match that of Buhari. So if they had known, they would have cut off Buhari's finger or cut off his hand, bring it back and place it on the scanner, on the fingerprint scanner, to scan and open the office. But I'm not sure Aisha would have agreed to that. So they had to remove everything and start all over again. On October 30, 2017, Jubril received Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as I told you. You know, they're all in this nonsense together, Yoruba media, at the banquet hall office, not inside his own office. Now, listen to the another reason. They said it is spiritual reasons. Mr. Buhari's absence from his office is said to be connected to his tortuous health challenges. Inside said spiritualists, Ndidibia, Babalawo, who worked on the president's condition, advised against him using the office Before, they said it deteriorated. Second time, it was rodents. The third time, it's because of what Babalawo said to Buhari. And he's a very faithful Muslim. The trip to London in May was unscheduled and all checks done, including in Germany, revealed nothing. We had to resort to prayers. Somebody said that nothing was wrong with the dead Buhari, that they went to Germany and to England, everything was okay. Now Babalawo said all they need to do is to resort to charms and to prayers. And that's what they have been doing. That is why he could not access his office. And some of you bought it hook, line, and sinker. Very, very sad indeed, isn't it? You're told lies and then you gobble it up. Very, very sad indeed. When contacted, Mr. Garba Shehu said, the president is at liberty to work from any office or location within the villa. It's not your business. The same thing with work result. It's not your business. You cannot ask. Who are you to ask? And people foolishly and hopelessly kept quiet. And then the journalist asked him, how about the repairs you're carrying out to the president's office as announced by the presidency in August? Mr. Shehu declined further comments. What other proof do you need? What other proof do you need that Buhari is dead? Buhari Amugo, Buhari is dead and gone. But some of you will not be able to understand it because you are incapable of reasoning. Very, very sad indeed. Very, very sad indeed. I gave you 6 scientific facts, one of which I have expanded on this very evening to prove to you beyond every conceivable doubt that the plastic surgery they did to Jubril did not affect his ear. They didn't touch his ear because they'll make a mess of it. Go and look at the ear of Jubril. I have marked everything out and see what is happening. Remember that Lai Mohammed responded to my 6 scientific facts. What did he say about the facts that I released? He said that the reports is false. He blamed the reports as an influence from opposition parties ahead of 2019 general elections. Lai Mohammed stressed that Buhari gained access to his office in Asorok, but after how many months? After how many months? Within a space of 5 months, a new Asorok could have been built. Why did it take you 5 months to dismantle the Israeli security installed in Asorok to protect Babangida? True or false? But Nigerians cannot reason. They say that what I am propagating is fake news. I said to the Yoruba lady journalist trying to defend Jubril, why can't Jubril speak Fufude? Do you know what the Trump said? She said that has anyone heard Buhari before speaking Fufude? Why must he speak it? This is a journalist. This is a journalist. A Yoruba journalist for that matter. People are asking for evidence and for proof. You're saying, why must you ask? Where is his WAEC result? No, you're not supposed to ask. Why should you ask? He's a general in the army. How did he get there with that certificate? But you forget that people go to Toronto University that doesn't exist. They forget. Lai Mohammed said this is clearly the fake news and handiwork of the opposition in serious distress and confusion. What a bloody pack of lies. I detest PDP as much as I detest APC. You are all the same criminals. All of you are the same. You cannot do anything to change the lot of the masses. That is who you are, and you will remain so. Now, let us go to Yoruba papers and what they are saying to counter what I said. And as I told you before, Bola Tinubu's papers and TV station, they are at the forefront of it. Yoruba people is the problem or a significant proportion of the demons afflicting your average Nigerian because they lie to you and they deceive you. This is Bola Tinubu's paper, The Nation. When did they publish this? They published this on December the 3rd to try and counter the evidence that I presented. They said, where is the evidence? And tonight I am telling Bola Tinubu, we have published our evidence. Look at the ear of Jubril. Look at the ear of Buhari. Look at it and you know they're not the same. I'm asking you, has it changed? Is it the same? Is it the same? Ajukan Najumo Chineke. 2 weeks into the presidential election, a non-issue is still an issue. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, responded to talk of a presidential impersonator on November 29th. Mohammed said, it is idiotic to say the president is cloned. I never said he was cloned. I said Jubril is a body double. A body double. And I don't want to lose respect for Wole Soyinka, because he should not be propagating this cloned rubbish. I never said Buhari was cloned. I said Buhari is a body double. They brought in an actor, Jubril Aminu Al-Sudani from Sudan, from Khartoum, to come and impersonate Buhari. That's what I said, not a clone. I must keep stressing this. But the Yoruba media, they will not listen. Tomorrow they will write clone. He was cloned. I never said so. I never ever said that Jubril is a clone of Buhari. No, no, no. I said he's an impersonator, a body double. But you know, Yoruba journalists, they hear the truth, they publish lies. That's how they feed. That is how they keep you locked into an unworkable one Nigeria. By feeding you lies. By feeding you lies. It is idiotic to say the president is cloned. I don't see any serious government responding to that. Well, they did respond, of course. Why wouldn't they respond? Because Jubril is not Buhari. They know that very well. Now, they went on to say that the video outlining the claim has since been shared more than 5,000 times on Facebook and Twitter. In it, Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of IPOB, tells his followers that Buhari had died. The man you are looking at on television is not Buhari. His name is Jubril. They wrote, basically, regurgitated what I said.